water stuff, man.
There you go.
I'm all right.
Your mic is live.
Man.
Just hit the first one here, man. Go on into it, man. We already late.
Man, my goddamn shoulder light. Man, oh, what the heck? Man, I don't know what the heck. I'm gonna hurt worse now.
You should loosen it up. There you go.
Man, I get some acupuncture. Hey, man, y'all ain't got no water in this joint?
Yeah, I
Man, I ain't got no headphones on, that, man.
Your headphones on. What you mean? Unless you don't pull it out. Unless you don't pull it apart at the bottom of the table.
Man, I ain't doing nothing out there. Look, man, the thing connected right there, bro. Now I can hear it. Look at this, man. Why is it all on one side?
Because you want all the extra stuff in the background. Get it.
Man! God darn, good evening, good evening, good evening. Ouch. Good evening, good evening, good evening.
What they do that?
Man, I can't. I'm halfway off the screen, bro.
Man,
Just move it over, man. Just move it over there, man. Bro, just move it over, because you got this seat here. It ain't nobody even sitting in this chair, bro.
Yeah, it is.
Just move it over, man.
Your co-host is there.
Just
Your
move
co-host
it over,
is there.
man.
I done told you.
Man, who is? Ain't nobody here, man.
Tell him to talk. Tell him to talk.
Ain't nobody there, man.
Tell him to talk.
I told you bring it on this side so you can shoot it like here, and then you get that in the
You're not
background.
gonna get it like that. You're not gonna get it like that. Talk. You're supposed to be talking right
Man, good evening. I am talking. What you doing now?
Man, see, you don't
Bro,
know.
come on, man.
You don't know what you want.
You really just, man, you
What
really
you-
doing, man, you doing too much.
What do you
bruh.
want of that?
I said right there, man.
Say that. You still ain't. See what I'm saying? There's no way you're gonna do that with the angles that we got. It's all about angles. It's angles. Your angle is not gonna allow it to happen.
Man, God. Look at this Bible sitting up here right in front of me, man. God, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening.
Say it again.
Man, you look at this Bible sitting right here in front of me, man.
Praise the Lord.
What? Man,
That's right there on you. That's right there on you.
I know what it is, man.
That's a good shot. That's a good shot right there.
Man, why you, man,
Man, you worry about that.
No, I ain't worried about that, man. The Daddy Bread's supposed to be in the shot. Why you got, I mean, you teeing this up. We gonna get that in there too. Why you ain't put this on the other
Man,
side?
you supposed to be educating, motivating, and inspiration these people.
Man, I don't get it.
Motivate.
What you trying to do?
How they say? I'll tell you what, we'll do this here.
Man,
Yeah,
man.
Ain't that everything you want right there?
All right, man.
Can't complain.
Good evening, good evening, good. Man, God darn. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening.
Say it
This
again.
your host. My shoulder hurt, man, too.
Man, go to Walmart.
This your host,
They sell shoulders.
Joaquin Thompson, and this is the Daily Bread Radio Show coming to you live from
Liver.
Little Burn.
No. Liver.
I'm like, man, the thing, Twist, man, you just, bro, what you been on today, man? This
Man, look
cricket, bro.
Man, look at you.
Look, the thing like this.
Educate
The
the
people on
people.
that, I'm educating people.
Ain't that what you say you
That's what
do?
I'm trying, bro, but I can't be looking at the thing that's sideways and all that. But, man, who on the production team over here, man?
Johnny.
Go bring it in, man. Hey, man, just bring it in closer there, man.
Just like I wanted in the beginning, see?
Man,
Just like I
man.
wanted in the beginning, see?
Man, y'all doing too much out there, man. Y'all
There you
doing
go.
too much.
How'd it look?
It's all dark. I don't know, man, how it look, man.
It look good on there.
Man,
Ask your audience how it look.
It look crazy, bro. I mean, we've been doing this forever. Why would...
There you go.
Hey, man, look.
Talk.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Look, I'm keep saying, good evening, good evening, good evening.
How many good evening you gonna give them, man?
I gotta keep doing it, man. I'm thinking I'm at the beginning. I don't know where I'm at in this show. Man, where's the... Man, I don't even know where I'm at. Listen, man. Listen,
You don't know
listen.
where I'm at, Lord.
Listen, man. Listen, man. We 11 minutes past the hour. I'm your host, Joaquin Thompson Sr., coming to you live from
Liver.
little past Atlanta.
Yeah.
A little bit past Atlanta, man. A little outside of Atlanta, man. And Just glad to be here. It's Thursday night, man. Ain't got nothing but the gospel for y'all today.
Come on.
Nothing but the gospel, because it's all about the show, man. It's all about what we doing, man. It's 2020. We're about 3 weeks in, 2020. And tonight, one of the things I want to talk about, man, was a very important topic. So I'm really gonna take the whole hour. And one of the things I want to do, man, I'm really gonna stress, y'all, calling into the studio tonight. I just want to have some dialogue tonight, man. I'm thinking about some different things for 2020. I'm thinking about our community. I'm thinking about our people. I'm thinking about just where we go from here. You know what I'm saying? Because so many things going on in the world, so many distractions. That's all I call it, just a distraction. But for people that are joining the show for the very first time, this show is about personal finance. And it's about personal finance from a spiritual perspective. We don't do God. Let me back up. We don't do religion. We always do God. We don't do religion on the daily bread. And the reason we don't do religion on the daily bread is because when you start getting into religion, people they get fuzzy with it, man. So I just, ever since I've done this show, man, you see me do this, man, all praises due to God, or whatever you call him. Some people call him Allah. Some people call him Yahweh. But just like in the Bible, man, I am what I am. Like he told Moses. So that's all we do. Who?
So I am sent me.
Yeah, man. So that's all we do here. So we don't get into all of that. And the number to the show, 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. Oh man. You gonna get, man, the YouTube police gonna get us, man. But
What you call them?
the YouTube police. No, not YouTube, Facebook police,
yeah,
man.
Facebook
They on the prowl, man. But it's a great time. This is 132nd episode. 132nd episode. So every week that I come on and I say something like that, man, that is just crazy in itself. 132nd episode, man. Shout out to the homies. I see my big brother on, Derek Williams. I see the big homie, Bubba D on. I seen D Cali on. And that's what it's about, man. I only need a few people. I only need a few, man. So when I see that and I get inspired by it, man, I can just keep going. I can go on all night, because what that shows me is that you only need, like one of my partners told me. He said, when you building something, you need support. I said, dang. He said, if you building a house, you need support. That house needs support. And I was like, wow. But so I'm thankful for my audience. The TV show going excellent. If you didn't catch last week's episode, it was historic. That's the only way that I can put it. It was a historic episode. I had the brother that was on the show last week, Cortland Mallory. He was on the TV show, him and another gentleman by the name of Jordan Blackwell. And the conversation was about where they at in their lives now that they had their student loans paid off by billionaire Robert F. Smith. And the dialogue that we had, the energy, the topics that we talked about, the tips, everything was just, it was like divine intervention. Everything was just poetic. The way that it went down. So I was very pleased, with the way that episode turned out. This Sunday, 9:30 p.m. And the trip thing is, man, I'm competing with Ghosts. You know what I'm saying? People are like, man, you come on the same. Last week it was a football game. Mm-hmm. Man, I said, you gonna watch the show? Oh man, man, does it come on the same time as the football game? I said, the football game? Somebody else said, man, you come on the same time as Ghost? I said, who? I said, Ghost? I said, who is Ghost? Like, Ghost ain't, man, you ain't gonna make no money with no Ghost. You can't tell your kids and your kids about no ghosts. Like, how did that don't even sound. You gonna tell your kids and your kids about power? Mm-hmm. It's like, man, come on, man. I'm giving you some education, motivation, and elevation, man, to just take you to higher heights. Take you to somewhere where, we haven't even been yet. Like, taking you to a level that you ain't never seen yet. You just kind of like peeping through the curtains. Like, oh my gosh, this is what's going on over here? So That's what I'm competing. I'm competing against NFL. I'm competing against the Ghosts. I'm competing against Stars. But it's a good competition because I like it. I say, well, hey, you know, if you tune in to the Daily Bread TV show, man, and I'm competing with, I mean, this is my rookie season, you know. So my rookie season, man, if I could be like John Morant, if I could be like, you know, Jordan in his rookie season, LeBron in his rookie season, Ray Lewis in his rookie season, I'm gonna be rookie of the year. You know, that's what I'm looking at. I'm like rookie of the year. I already got some people talking to me about some other projects. So I'm just being thankful, man, going along for the ride. And like Steve Harvey said, man, he ain't through with me yet. He ain't through with me yet, man, because I know where I came from. I know what he's doing. And every day, I'm talking about the stuff that he's exposing me to. Every day I keep saying, man, I need to not so much be a little bit more selfish, but I'm constantly thinking about our community. I'm constantly thinking about kids. I mean, I've been blessed, got a tremendous business partner in my real estate endeavors, man. I've been telling you all about, you know, the whole Airbnb. That, man, y'all need to reach out to me. That's the only thing I can say about that, because in our communities, when we start talking about real estate, business ownership, the ability to generate additional revenue, when we start talking about those, I mean, that's when we're not really getting educated in that space in our community. So if we're not getting educated in that space, I was listening to this guy, Robert Kiyosaki, and in this psychology, where went I'm lying. It was a guy that was on YouTube by the name of Dr. Tinder, Tinder, Dr. Tinder. Dr. Tinder is a psychologist. I think he's a psychologist. But you can Google him, look him up. But Dr. Tinder, he had scientific, and you know, my background is, I'm a scientist. My original background is in microbiology. So I'm a scientist by nature. So love data. And the thing I love about data don't lie. People lie, right? People lie. You know, other people lie, but data is what it is. Data is data. You can't refute data. You can't refute data. So if the data says out of 100 people, this is what happens. Out of 1,000 people, this is what happened. Out of this population, this is what happened. You can just read the data. And he's saying in his data of the people that he's researched, and as long as he's been in that space, he said that the first 7 years of life are the most important. That's what puts the programming. And I broke down to you all before about programming. So that's when they, going back to TV, like you gonna watch Ghost, the NFL, or you gonna watch the Daily Bread. And it's all based on what? Programming. So when CBS is showing the game, that's programming, right? When Stars is showing Ghost, that's programming. So if you sit back and then my show is coming on, that's programming. They call that programming. They got a programmer, and that's programming, the content that we're airing on the, you know, on the television. But here's the thing. Just think about that for a minute. So in the first 7 years of life, a lot of times you don't have to tell a kid certain things about what they're learning, because they're going to learn it from their environment, and they're going to learn it from other people that they interact with in those first years of life. And the words that we use and the things that we say to, you know, from infancy to like 7, 8 years old. And he said that's why you can have kids born to people, and they say the poor are going to remain poor, and the rich are going to remain rich. That's black and white. Like, if somebody tell you something like that, that should make you should be like, like Arsenio used to do. You should be like, That should make you scratch your temple like, wait a minute. He said the poor are going to remain poor, and the rich are going to remain rich. Unless, he said the only way that you can interrupt that programming once you get beyond those 7 years is by repetition. Repetition. He said with repetition, what happens is if you take something or a person and you say, hey, I want to change whatever, the way that I think about a certain topic, or the way that I approach a certain item or what have you. You have to do it repeatedly in order for you to override the programming that's already been instilled into your database over all of those years. You have to be able to overcome all of those cliches, all of those sayings, all of the things that you know, we don't have it like that. You know, you can't afford that, or you're not gonna be able to, you have to be able to use repetition and say, I'm greater. I'm the greatest. That's why when you see people that are going to certain heights, when you listen to what they say, they saying the same thing over and over, people laughing and, oh man, that's real slick. But if you think about it, Muhammad Ali, he always said, he said, I'm the greatest. Even before he became the greatest, he used to always say that, right? I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest of all time. Mm-hmm. And then after he kept saying it over and over, guess what? Then he started believing it. He said, you know what? I am the greatest of all time. I am the greatest, right? So it's not so much about being cocky. It's about being confident, but you got to do it repeatedly.
The 21-day rule.
21 days to create a habit, but in your mind, when you speaking to yourself, in your mind, when you speaking to yourself, not what comes out of here, but in your mind, because that's where the most dialogue takes place right here, between your two ears. Not when you're having conversations with people, but the dialogue that you're having with yourself, day in and day out. Man, I'll never be able to. And then you fill in the blank. Shoot, ain't nobody in my family ever been able to. Man, you know what? I think it's too late. Man, I think I'm too old at this point. Man, ain't no way that'll ever happen. I don't see it. When you keep saying those type of things, man, I want a Rolls Royce, but I don't see it. Man, I want to buy a new house. I don't see it. Man, I want to get in shape. I can do it. But then you don't take no follow-up actions. Man, I want to lose weight, but you still eating what you eat. Like you ain't changed nothing changed in your behavior. So with that repetition, what has to happen is you have to create it's called a behavior change. Like you literally have to change your behavior in order to achieve certain goals. So the reason that's important, the reason I'm bringing that up today on the Daily Bread is this. It's 2020. We 3 weeks into the year. If you don't have a budget set up for 2020, take some time out to do it. I mean, I've gone over budgets millions of times on this show. I mean, millions of times. I mean, just, you know, year in, year out, because that, to me, the budget is the cornerstone. The budget is going to tell you if you on or you off. Mm-hmm. Period. Wherever you work at, they got a budget. Your church that you go to, they got a budget. They know how much. They know how many tithes they need to have come in every Sunday in order for them to meet their financial goals for 2020. Your church has a budget, right? Your job has a budget. Hopefully your business, if you run the business, has a budget. So if all of these different entities have a budget, you, as the CEO of Household Incorporated, should have a budget. So I'm not going to get on the budget tangent, but tonight's show is about imagination. Imagination, right? And the other thing that Dr. Tender talked about was, as we age, he said, as a person ages, like once they get past 7, 8 years old, he said slowly over time, what happens is people go from very imaginative, listen to this, very imaginative, 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, cops and robbers playing with army men, you know, running. It ain't no car, it's a pen. But in your mind, it's a car, and you sitting there, because in your mind, you can see what? The car going around, it's going up, and you could do all that when you were a kid, and you imagining that. But he said, as you age over time, what happens is people start to stop using the faculty of imagination. And by the time you become a teenager, you get so fixated into these different little boxes that you can't even imagine being this. Because you've already put a lid on what you can and can't do. And it's all in your mind. You formulated that in your mind. Didn't nobody have to hold you back physically or say, hey, you can't do that. In your mind, you put those limitations on everything because you stop using your imagination. And imagination, this is imagination. You want to see imagination? Huh? You want to see imagination? Airbnb?
Come on.
That's imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Uber? That's imagination. Lyft? That's imagination. SpaceX with Elon Musk? That's imagination. Tiny houses, the tiny house revolution, right? That's imagination. All of that's imagination. Gentrification is imagination. Opportunity zones, that's imagination, right? All of this stuff is just, it's imagination. That's all it is. Somebody sitting down thinking, man, well, what we could do is we could have a computer cash app.
Apple.
That's imagination.
Apple.
Apple. That's imagination. What is Netflix? It's imagination. What happened to Blockbuster? What happened to? I remember one time Blockbuster was like, man, Blockbuster was the gorilla in the room. Everybody was conditioned to like, man, I can't wait to get off on Friday night. I'm going to Blockbuster. I'm going to pick out my movies. I'm going to get me some popcorn. I'm going to go home, watch my movies. Your tape late. I got a late fee. That was the biggest. And then Netflix came along and people was like, ain't nobody going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it was something new and people hadn't really opened their minds up to, like, maybe people do want to do that. Maybe people are going to be streaming and watching movies on the band and binge. But it wasn't popular with everybody. It was a small group of people that said they came up with an idea. In their imagination, they was like, man, people could just pay a subscription. They just give us $9. When Netflix first came out, it was $7.99. It was $7.99, and you can watch all of the movies that you want to watch. Now, when Blockbuster heard about that, what did they say? That ain't gonna work. We ain't worried about them.
They're not a threat.
They ain't no threat. Like who? Netflix? Oh no. People gonna always want to do this. Then what started happening? People started going into subscriptions. And then after people start using subscriptions, by the time they got so deep into the game, Blockbuster couldn't compete because they didn't have the infrastructure. They didn't have the imagination. Now I'm gonna bring something to y'all right now, imagination. So you answer me this. Why is everything going streaming now? BET has a streaming channel. BET has a streaming channel. CBS has a streaming channel. NBC, ABC, ESPN, now local channels are starting to get a streaming channel. Why? Because that's what we headed. That's what we headed. That's all of this network TV, all of that's getting ready to go streaming. So what do you need for streaming? You need content. You literally got to feed the beast, what I call feed the beast. So say if you want to get in the game, that's why I'm so thankful when I come on here every week. Every week when I come on here, sit down, we got our background, TKN Radio, Guerrilla Publishing, Daily Bread. I'm your host, Joaquin Thompson. Guess what? This is currency. I'm just adding another I'm just adding another episode to my catalog. So when they say, well, you on YouTube, yeah, you don't get that many views, that's fine. Hey, okay. But it's more than one way that you can use content. It's a whole imagination. Just close your eyes and imagine. Man, we need some content. Here you go. Oh, you got a TV show? Yeah. And I got 130 episodes of a podcast. What? Ooh, we might need you to do X. You think I might be able to do it? I done did all of this up until this point. So it's just content. But that's just imagination. The TV show was just an idea that I had in my mind. I was sitting down one day, was right in here. And I said, man, well, this is cool. But I wanted something where people could, and I achieved my goal. My goal was and maybe I wasn't specific with God. I didn't say, oh, I want 1 million people to sit down and be able to grab their remote. I told God, I said, I want to have a show, not on social media, but I want people to be able to come in the house, sit down on the couch, grab their remote, and turn on their TV and see the Daily Bread radio show. Well, not the radio show, but the Daily Bread TV show. That's all I kept saying in my mind. That was in my imagination. I said, this is what I want to happen. Now you fast forward, the TV show is out. The TV show is being broadcasted on 2 cable platforms, 9:30, every Sunday night, 9:30. We're on Comcast, if you're in Georgia, Comcast, 295. We're on AT&T Uverse, Channel 6, and you can stream it anywhere in the world. That's the Daily Bread Show, season 2. We're gonna be on every Sunday through really the remainder of the year. Because once we go through these episodes, get everything done, we're gonna come back. We're gonna re-air them. Why? Because say if 1,000 people saw the first season, right? We still got, it's 6 million people just in Atlanta. It's 6 million people in Atlanta. So my thing is like, okay, I need to get 6 million people to know about the Daily Bread. So I got plenty of time. The show is done. The show is done. So we got to use that imagination faculty so that way when you start thinking about personal finance and you think about, most times people think from a scarcity standpoint, I don't have enough X, or I only make X. I can only do this. I'm like, man, do you realize what you could do with your mind? What you could do with your mind and an idea? You could change your whole financial situation with just your mind and an idea. You could take just a little bit of money and say, hey, I'm going to start doing X. Well, I'm going to write a book. And then I'm going to sell a book for $1.99 a copy. I'm going to create an ebook, and then I'm going to do it for $1.99 a copy. And you might say, well, that ain't going to be a lot, but okay, let's think about this. You write an ebook and you put it out. It's a PDF, right? So what's the topic? What's going to be the topic? How to keep your lawn manicured, right? Okay, cool. How to keep your lawn looking, extremely nice year round. Okay. A lot of people like their lawn. A lot of people do, landscaping and all this kind of stuff, right? So you write your little ebook, and now you put the ebook out. I got an ebook. How much is it? It's $1.99 a copy. Okay. So what if this happens? Every month, that $1.99, the book that you're selling for $1.99, you done got into some, groups that deal with landscaping and, how to make your yards, how to beautify your yards and this, that, and other. You put some, because you got to put some work into it too now, so don't get it twisted. It ain't going to just fall into you. But think about this. If you sold 1,000 copies every month, just 1,000, I ain't say 1 million, 10 million, 29 million, 30 million, 1,000 copies every month at $1.99. How much is that? That's $1,900. Ooh. What if you sold 10,000 copies? If you sold 10,000 copies in a month, that's $20,000. Actually, it's $19,990, right? It's $1.99 a copy. Are you good with that? Like, would you be cool? Like, are you good with that? Like, man, $20,000 a month? But that's just imagination. Like, what if it don't work? So what? You don't care. It ain't cost you but a little bit, but the imagination comes in because you got to think of creative ways of doing things in order to change and get to what you want to have in life. That's why it's so important to have goals. Like, write the goals out, what you want to have, so that way, as you start working on that faculty of imagination, your imagination is what's going to bring things into manifestation. I don't care what it is. This hat, these glasses, this show, Daily Bread, right? Guerrilla Publishing. Where all of that came from? It was an idea first. It was just in our mind, just like, man, I'm going to do, what's DKM radio? Oh, okay. Then you write it out on a piece of paper. You know what? I'm gonna get a poster made with that on it. Man, okay. Then you come out, you like, oh, okay, look at this. Then you come out, look at this image. Let me move the microphone. Look at this. This Guerrilla Publishing. Where did that come from? That came from inside my mind when I wrote the book. What's the name of your publishing company? Guerrilla Publishing. Went out, got this logo, got the red tongue on the gorilla, right? Look at this. Got the red tongue on the gorilla. Man, a book. I ain't thinking about writing no book. Wrote the book. Then what I start doing? Start selling the book. How much is it? I looked on some other books. I looked on the back of some other books. Ooh, $14.95. Yeah, that's what it costs. $14.95. Then I started having schools want to buy it. Oh, can we get a 50% discount? Sure. They said, you said that too? I said, yeah, I'm positive. $7? No, matter of fact, how about we do this? $6. $6. The book retails for $14.95. I can sell it to you for $6. How many copies? We want to get 100 copies. Okay. How much did the book cost me to make? $1.25 a copy. $1.25 a copy. So, I got that from watching Master P do his thing, right? So, you got to be able to. And the thing about imagination is this. Here's the power. Because I'm in a training class right now. Like everybody knows, I was doing mortgages. I am doing mortgages, right? Got a mortgage company. I do mortgages, right? So if you got a 30-year loan, where if you got a house you want to buy, you want to live in the house, you need a 30-year mortgage. You need a 15-year. You need a VA loan. You need, USDA loan. You need, an ARM, whatever you need, and you're going to move into the house. I do the mortgages. I do mortgages. So I can help people buy a house, right? But now, we done went to, I done took it into another level. Imagination. Imagine this. Now I want somebody to call in and tell me if they've ever seen this. Or you can put it in the chat. Whatever you're comfortable with. You can either call us, 678-381-1973, or you can state it in the chat. I'm going to ask a question, and I want you to tell me. We got people on from Jacksonville. We got people on from Atlanta. We got people on from, I think that was D.C., people from all over, but just in your area, right? So I'm going to just put the question out there. And if the question pertains to you, you tell me if you've seen this before in your area, right? Have you ever seen a sign that says this? We buy houses. Mm-hmm. You ever seen one of them signs? They say, that's all they say. We buy houses, call today. And they have a number list. You ever seen that?
Oh, yeah.
You ever seen one of them?
All over town.
All over town?
All over town, yes, sir.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So
So my producer said he's seen it. He's seen it before all over town. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me ask another question. Have you ever seen a sign, could have been on a house, in a yard, on the street, that says this? We buy houses for cash.
All the time.
All the time. Everywhere. Right? We buy houses for cash. All right, here's another one. We buy houses in any condition. Everywhere. All over the place, right? So it's like, okay. I've seen them in Jacksonville. I've seen them in Washington, D.C. I've seen them in New York City. I've seen them, I was in Atlanta. I've seen them when I was in Miami. I've seen them when I was in Orlando. I've seen them every city I've been to. I've seen them, right? Are you in foreclosure? Let us help, right? That kind of stuff, right? So here's the imagination. So I'm already doing the mortgages. So I'm helping people do the mortgages, right? Just closed my first deal like 3 weeks ago. Shout out to Kevin Cofield. He trusted in me, gave me a deal, boom. Came off of that, and then came right back, had a refinance for another one of my colleagues needed a refinance of his house, right? Boom, put that in play. So I'm doing that, and then I'm using my imagination. Somebody shot something by me And I thought about it. I said, wait a minute. And here's the thing. This is what I have now. Now I want y'all to sit down and think through this. I need y'all to just sit down and think about how this is going to affect everybody that I know and everybody that you know. Listen to this. I'm going to give you all a phrase. Listen to this. What if I told you that I had access? Listen to this number now. What if I told you I had access to, I'm going to keep the number low, 20 million. I had access to $20 million in private, listen to this, $20 million in private money that I need to disperse to anybody that's interested in real estate investing at any level. I'm not talking about just I done did 50, fix and flips. No, I'm talking about the person that's sitting at home, that's looking at this telecast or looking at the replay and saying, man, I would love to invest in real estate, but I don't have the money. I would love to, man, I could buy, my auntie got a house, man. I could buy that house. She don't want but like $40,000 for it. But I don't know where to get the money from. I got access to listen to this number now, $20 million in private money for any real estate investor at any level. Could be your first time. And I ain't talking about this fix and flip. So you might say, man, I don't want to do all that rehab. You ain't got to do all that. House, it needs upgrades, right? You want to upgrade the kitchen, make it look new. Just like they do on HGTV. Maybe you just need to paint, put in some new carpet, take out the shag carpet that they had from the 80s and the 70s, and put in a new bathroom, right? Might cost you $10,000 a house. Might be like 30, 40, 50,000, 15,000. I had some people call me the other day. Man, I know a house is $12,000. Okay. I can get you $12,000 plus the rehab costs. But the only thing it takes is what? You reaching out to me, calling me, saying, hey, bruh, I heard you on the Daily Bread. Said you got access. I have access to $20 million that I need to get dispersed like ASAP. Why is that? Now let's look at this. And you may be saying, well, what's in it for me? Let's think through this. You may say, well, okay. So you may not be ready, but check this out. What if you know somebody at your job? They might be getting ready to retire. Oh, we want to do this, that, and other. I would show you don't want to buy no real estate. Like who don't want to buy some real estate? Like you don't want to buy no real estate. So if you want to buy some real estate, and you know somebody who got the money, now I'm getting ready to connect the dots for everybody. So you don't want to buy it, but you know somebody that do want to buy it. You bring the deal to me, guess what? Boom. I'm gonna make sure you get some money too. Oh, you brought the deal to me. Oh yeah, man, he brought that house, man. It was like 40,000, 50,000, 100,000. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pay you for bringing me the deal. So you may be saying, well, man, I need to make some extra money. There you go. How much extra money you want to make? You can do that 1 time a month, 10 times a month, 100 times a month. That's just imagination. That's all that. That's just you talking to people every day, going to work, at church, at school, at the park, at the club, at different meetings. People talking. Everybody talking about what? I don't have enough money. I need to make some more money. Okay, figure out opportunity. You can either do it for yourself, or you can let somebody else know. If you hear anybody saying, man, I got this little house over here, or man, I know this 1 to 4 units. Listen to what I'm saying to you. 1 to 4 units. I have $20 million that I have access to right now. Like you could call me tonight. You could call you could call me tomorrow. You could text me. You could email me. Whatever you want to do. And this is what I'm going to be doing from now. So now I got the best of both worlds. The only difference is some property, if it's going to be owner occupied, meaning people want to buy the property and live in it. Like I'm buying this house Me and my family gonna live in it. Okay, I can do the mortgage for you. That's for you to buy the house and you live in it. Or, man, I was driving down Moncrief. I seen this little house. It's for sale. Man, I found that it ain't but like $12,000. Guess what? I got access to $20 million. You might only need like, say you need 15,000. Let me do the numbers for you. Because you might be saying, man, I don't have enough to do. Okay. Say you found a little house that was 20,000. No, yeah, 20,000. And it needed $20,000 worth of work. So the house was 20,000 and it needed $20,000 worth of rehab, right? So that's 40,000. I'm giving you all that. This is worth, like the old people say, this is worth the price of admission. So now it's $40,000 for that house, right? Okay. What if you was gonna do the deal? You came to me and I said, hey man, I can get you the money. Or hey young lady, I can get you the money. And you said, well, how much? I said, well, it's 20,000. The house is 20,000, and it's gonna need $20,000 worth of rehab, right? So that's 40,000, right? And you say, okay. So in order for you to do the deal, it's 10% down. It's 10% down plus closing costs. What's 10% of 40,000? 4,000.
Yep.
Right? 10% of 40 is 4. Right? And your closing costs on a $40,000 house, let's say, I'm gonna just give you a nice little round number, $2,500, right? So that's $6,500, right? That's what that is, right? So you might say, man, so I can, and you in the house, you doing, that's on your own, you just woo, woo, woo. But check this out, what if, for some kind of reason, some kind of way, you needed some help with that. Even with that type of deal, you need, man, well, I don't have a whole 6,000, I got 2,000. Guess what? You could call me. I give out my office number, 470-322-5122. 470-322-5122. The reason I'm giving that out is this. Even if you don't have all of the money, you could call me and I have access to people that will put the rest of the money into the deal. Like you might only have 2,000, you need 6,500, right? Down payment plus closing costs. I got people that I know will put in the other 4,000 and then y'all just split the deal.
That's good.
You come to the table with 3,500. I got a person that's got 3,000. They gonna put the boom. So now y'all got the 6,500. Y'all might do a 60-40 split. You might do a 50-50. But what you care? Like if you could do that type of deal, turn around and sell. Just say you're gonna sell a house for 75,000, 60,000. No, we're gonna be real conservative. 20. You bought the house for 20. You put 20 into it. That's 40. And now you sold the house for 60, right? So you netted, just say 15, because they, you have some closing costs you might want to put in for the seller. So let's just say 15, right? You made $15,000, and you split it with the person that put in this other money on your down payment. You just make $7,500, right? That might take you how long, dude? Just say 4 months. Take 3 or 4 months. I'm being super conservative. And you netted $7,500, right? The question you have to ask yourself is this. In the last year, in the last 5 years, have you had any investment where you made $7,500 in less than 6 months? Any investment, stocks, bonds, mutual, whatever. 75, and that's real conservative. But I'm gonna make it even sweeter for you. Same scenario, $20,000 house, $20,000 in rehab, 10% down, 4,000, closing costs, 2,500. So you need 6,500. What if, some kind of miraculous way, we linked up. Your company and my company linked up, and we did the deal together, right? Do you realize this is what I'm talking about? This is the game changer in our community. Now think about all of them signs that you've seen. We buy houses cash. Are you in foreclosure? Let us help. We buy ugly houses. We buy houses in any condition. Just all of them signs everywhere, right? Now you got the opportunity to come $20,000 house, $20,000 in rehab, 10% down, and you need $2,500 for closing costs, right? $6,500. What if your company and my company partnered on the deal, and I can get you 100% financing? Now I pause so that way you can let that marinate. 100%, meaning you don't come to the table with no money, meaning no down payment and no closing costs. That same scenario. We get the $20,000, we rehab the house. Now we own a house together for $40,000, right? Now we sell that house. We sell that house for $60,000. We net out, say we net out $15,000, right? Because we put a little closing, or we leave a little equity in it for the seller, so it sell quick, like bam. $6,000 house gonna sell quick, like immediately. It ain't gonna be sitting out on the market. Mm-hmm. It ain't even gonna be out there long enough for a person to say, man, I seen this. By the time they say 60, somebody else gonna be like an investor, and or somebody that's like, man, I sure wish I could buy me a house, but I can't afford no $200,000 house, $300,000. Man, I sure wish I could. I said $60,000, and you didn't put no money in the deal, and you still walk away with what? $7,500. How many times can you do that deal? How many times? So when you go to work tomorrow, when you go to church Sunday, when you hook up with your homeboy tomorrow, Friday night, y'all out at the club, or wherever y'all go, you know what I'm saying? You out at the, sports bar, y'all kicking it, y'all watching the game Sunday, trying to figure out who's going to the Super Bowl. Man, you should be running through your mind, using your imagination like, man, I wonder if I could bring this deal. I wonder if I could bring Dog this deal and we could do something. You won't never know. If you hear somebody in your family, man, they don't want like 10,000. The house worth 50. How many times you heard that conversation? Mm-hmm. She don't want 30,000. The house worth like 100. But you don't have 30,000. I just said I got access to $20 million. $20 million. Close in less than 30 days. Period. Oh man, my credit messed up. So, it don't matter. It don't even matter. Your credit could be as messed up as it want to be. It don't matter. We got programs for that too. It don't matter. Man, well, I don't make enough for my job. It don't matter. Any excuse you can come up with.
Stop making excuses.
Any excuse you can come up with. I don't have the down payment. It don't matter. I got people for the down payment. I don't have the closing costs. It don't matter. I said 100% financing. Mm-hmm. I used a little number, 20,000. Tomorrow on your way to wherever you're going, when you get in your car and you drive down the street, you're going to pass by at least 5 houses for sale and 5 more that you know that could potentially be for sale. And guess what? You might say, well, I don't even know if I want to invest in that. Okay. You can tell me about it, and I'll give you the money for just telling me about it. You tell me about it, I'll do the deal, right? With an extra, let's just use a round number, 500. With an extra $500 this month, would that help you? Would it help? I mean, I don't know, maybe. Would an extra $500 help? You could do that just one time. Hey man, they got this house over there, it ain't but $15,000. Would it help? If I come in, do the deal, get the rehab, with the woo, boom, there you go, 500, man. I appreciate you telling me about that, man. Here you go, 500. Ah, that's too much. Okay, the deal went that big, so maybe I gave you, okay, I didn't give you 500. I gave you 250. The last year, or the last 10 years, we tell people about stuff all the time. Man, you gotta go see this movie. Man, you need to see this song. Man, you need to go over there and get some food. Man, you need to come over here and do that. When the last time anybody gave you $250 for telling them about something? Just telling them. I ain't saying you had to do a deal. You don't have no risk. You ain't got nothing on the line. Your credit, you ain't got nothing on the line. No risk at all. And somebody said, here you go. Here you go, 2 100s and a 50. Now, if I tell you that and I'm sitting on $20 million. If you listening to this broadcast, and I'm gonna post it on Facebook too. I'm gonna see what people say. I'm gonna post it and see what, because I'm talking about our community. And listen, I'm not talking about Atlanta. I'm not talking about Florida. I'm talking about in the continental United States. I'm talking about Texas, Nevada, California, Ohio, Nebraska, Maine, Vermont, New York, New Jersey,
Wyoming.
Connecticut. Who? Where?
Even Wyoming.
Even Wyoming. Even Idaho. Even Idaho. Idaho.
Man, why you gotta say it like that?
Even
Why you gotta say it like
them.
that?
North Carolina, South Carolina, whatever. It ain't no excuse now. So I just gave y'all a big blessing just with that. Now, the other question I have for you is this: Who else have you heard tell you they got access to that kind of money? That's what I'm talking about. Crickets. It ain't about. That's what I said from the day one on this show. And where did that money come from? Came from the Creator.
Mm-hmm.
It came from God. It came directly from God. How do I know that? Because when I was in one training, right? Oh, we got a call? Caller, you on the air with Joaquin Thompson, the Daily Bread. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Cornbread, and I'm letting ATL know I'm coming through. You heard me? You know how he is. You heard me? Just let y'all know.
Come on
Two
through.
man is in the building.
Hey, man.
My brother. Yes, sir.
Hey, man. I'm trying to give away some blessings on this show, man. I'm trying to give it away, man. I'm giving it away.
Let him know.
I'm giving it away, man. You coming on? We getting ready. So this Cornbread, everybody know Cornbread. He's the super producer of the show out of New York. He's coming down. When is that? Is that gonna be next Thursday?
I'm coming through next Thursday, Friday, and I'm doing a fundraiser in Alabama.
Right.
All right.
But when you coming on the show, is that next Thursday or the following Thursday?
The following Thursday, yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I got a 10-day layover now.
Okay.
So, y'all get your napkins. You know what I'm saying? Bring your own napkins. Bring your own aluminum foil. You know how black people do. Bring your own aluminum foil. And we're going to do this. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to make the not Popeyes chicken sandwich red man style. You know what I'm saying? It ain't Popeyes chicken. It's called not Popeyes original chicken sandwich made by Cornbread. I've been making them things since 1982.
Man, I done hit my tooth on the thing, man. Man, I'm in, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
It's called Popeyes. Yes.
Listen, man. Are you gonna bring? Hey, the listeners want to know, or the viewers, are you gonna bring the condiments? Are you bringing like lettuce and tomatoes and ketchup and mustard?
You saw the picture.
I saw the picture, man. The chicken sandwich was this big, though, man. I didn't know what it was, cause the chicken sandwich was this big, bro.
Listen, I'm gonna make it like they want it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, don't even. Boy, come on,
but
bro.
listen,
Come
I'm
on.
gonna bring the condiments.
Come on.
But all I want them to do is make sure if you ever eat at Popeyes, let them know that my chicken sandwich is not Popeye's chicken sandwich. And it's the original. It ain't gonna make you sick. It ain't gonna make you throw up.
It ain't gonna make you sick.
Listen, it's gonna make you remember me forever. If you never know who I am,
Hey.
you gonna remember me.
That's our motto. That's our marketing motto. Our job, hey, our job is not to make it where you forget about us. No, our job is not to make you remember us. Our job is to make sure that you never forget who we are. How about that?
That's what I'm talking about.
Boom.
You know what
Look
I'm
at
saying?
that. Boom. Hey, D. Cali, soon as I get off the air, man, I'm calling you. This real talk. And me and you had already talked about that. This real talk. I'm gonna put it to you soon as I get off the air, man. But Man, Corn, we looking forward for you coming through, bro. You know, got the
Yes,
right.
sir.
He lit up when you got there. He heard your voice. He jumped up and ran out the room, bro. So you know you good over here. So bring the Popeyes, the not Popeyes chicken sandwich with the lettuce.
Yeah.
What we want? Lettuce, tomatoes.
And corn.
Look,
Oh.
the romaine lettuce is officially off the ban list, so we can eat some romaine lettuce. You know what I'm saying? So listen.
He said we want some corn too, man. He said bring some corn with you.
Some what? Some corn? That stuff don't digest in your system, man.
I know, man. That's what I told him. I don't eat corn, man.
I bring some original cornbread.
Bring some of that cornbread, man. Bring some of that jalapeno. Bring some of that jalapeno cornbread.
Exactly.
Bring some of that jalapeno cornbread, man.
No, look, take a poll when you get a chance. Take a poll.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? And we'll read the poll.
We'll read
and
the
I'll
poll.
do the best I can. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Because I have my sandwich already laid out. But if there's some special requests, you know, take a poll and we'll make it happen. That's all. You know
That's,
what I'm saying?
hey, bro. We gonna make it happen, man. So we look forward to you being on. Not next Thursday, but Thursday. So that's gonna be episode 134. That's gonna be historic. So
Yeah.
next week's 133,
Yes, sir.
and the week after that. So you on for 134? How about that?
Oh, I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready.
All right,
you know what I'm
brother.
saying?
Well, we about
I'm
to.
ready
Hey,
for it.
huh?
He said we need to come on through next Saturday for this comedy show. That what he needed.
Hey, man. He said. Ryan said you need to come through next. He working, man. He said he ain't gonna be here.
Ain't gonna be okay.
Yeah, he got to do
I'm
some.
gonna come through. I'm gonna come through next week real quick.
Right.
Because I'm gonna be on the road. I gotta head down to Alabama. But after
Right.
my Alabama shows, the 25th, 26th, 27th, up to February 5th, I'll be in Atlanta. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I gotta head out. Down to Florida
Okay.
for some shows down there. You know what I'm saying? And like I told you, that Sarasota show got canceled that Friday.
Oh, okay.
One in Fort Myers
Right.
and over in Pensacola.
Okay.
The 6th and the 8th of February. And after that, we good. You know what I'm saying?
All right. That's what's up, bro. Well, we about to
All right.
get ready to wrap it up over here, man. We appreciate you calling in, man. We look forward to seeing you on
Yes, sir.
134.
134.
All right, Daily Bread fans. I'll see
Cornbread.
you next time. Peace.
Peace, brother. Peace, brother. Hey, I'm gonna leave y'all with this, man. The book of the week. I'm gonna stay on this book, man. If you don't have a copy, you gotta get a copy, man. It's called The Law of Success, the complete law of success. And lesson six is imagination. So this is the book of the week, right? Law of success. And check this out. I'm gonna just read y'all a quick little excerpt of what he says, the definition. This is the definition of, according to him, this is the definition of imagination. The act of constructive intellect in grouping the materials of knowledge or thought into new, listen to this, into new, original, and rational systems. The constructive or creative faculty embracing poetic, artistic, philosophic, scientific, and ethical imagination. Now, what does that mean? It means exactly what I said. It means just that. So I just gave y'all a huge blessing. If you need some extra income in 2020, reach out to me. My office number, 470-322-5122. If you know any person in your area that needs funding for real estate, non-owner occupied. So I'm not talking about where you gonna live in. I'm talking about rental property, investment property, anything at any level. So don't be thinking like, man, I ain't no big. You ain't got to be a big time real estate investor. The only thing you got to want to do is use your imagination and say, man, I could call Joaquin. I might make $250 this month. You might do it 4 times and make $1,000.
Off the muscle.
Just on the strength, like, hey man, I got this deal. Call this guy, and that's what I do. I call this guy, and then boom, just let him know, like, hey, I got 20. I'm sitting on $20 million. I'm sitting on it. Like the dude is upset with me. My mentor that I'm working with, he upset because he's like, you should be able to give away. If you can't give away $20 million, something wrong with you. And I'm telling you all, this is for. I want us to take advantage of it for our community. Our community. Right? I see you, Big D, Ferdina. I know we got some old houses in Fernandina. We got some old houses in Jax. We got some old houses right here in Atlanta. We got some old houses in South Carolina, right? Where people like, man, everybody live down there. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because one thing you got to remember about real estate, people gonna always need a place to stay. All right? So y'all get at me, let me know what's up. That's a blessing. Make sure you tune in every Sunday night. AIBTV.com/everywhere. That's the streaming. If you in Georgia, you can catch the show on Comcast, channel 295, or you can catch it on AT&T Uverse, channel 6. If you outside of Georgia, you have to tune in on Sunday nights because if you don't watch, they're going to take it off. If you don't watch, they're going to take it off. If you watch, this week, we got the brother that's on the show here, TJ, from LA, right? The pioneer of the lowrider, straight out of Compton. He's going to be on the show, man. He's going to be breaking down real estate development. And, man, I'm glad I said TJ. Because TJ do a bunch of deals. TJ need to know I got this money. I'm about to call TJ when I get out there. So, that's what it is, man. It's all in your mind. It's all in your mind, brothers and sisters. It's all, and I'm going to bring it to you. So I just blessed. That's 2020. I just gave you a blessing for 2020. So let's get rid of this $20 million so I can get another $20 million. And we change our lives and the lives of our kids and our kids' kids. So don't sleep on it. Don't be like, oh man, I thought. No, I'm telling you, it is what it is. And I ain't never, ever, 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 ever gonna bring you nothing that's fugazi. And when some people might say, man, that's slang. What is fugazi? I ain't bringing you nothing fake. I ain't bringing you no $3 bills. I ain't bringing you none of that. Because if I'm bringing it to you, that means I've already vetted it out, and it ain't gonna be no trip. The only thing I'm trying to do is take advantage of the opportunity. Take advantage of the opportunity, brothers and sisters. Pat, I see you, girl. Make sure you tell you. I know you know a bunch of people. You better tell them. We got the bag. We got the bag over here on the Daily Bread.
Ain't gonna stop talking.
Y'all be good. Ayo, ayo, ayo,